Hello everyone, this is Harry Gill and this is part 3 of chapter 15, which is functional programming. In the part 1, we have seen what a supplier is, and in the part 2, we have seen consumer and BiConsumer, and in this part, we will see predicate and BiPredicate. So let's jump into IntelliJ and see the example. Before we write the program, let's have a look at the definition of the predicate functional interface. The unimplemented method in the predicate interface is test. The test method takes an object as input and returns a Boolean value back. So that means the lambda implementation that we write for a predicate functional interface can get an object as input, and that lambda implementation that we write has to return back a Boolean value. Apart from that one unimplemented method, we do have other methods, but those have the default implementation. So we have and, negate, or, is equal, and not method in the predicate functional interface. Now let's jump back into the main method. So I'm going to create a predicate of the type string, and this predicate I'm going to check whether the input string is empty or not. So the lambda implementation for that will be, we're taking x as input parameter, and in the lambda body we will use isEmpty method on the string x, and isEmpty method will return a Boolean. Since this is a lambda expression, whatever is returned by isEmpty will be returned by the whole lambda. Now I'm going to go ahead and write the same predicate using the reference method. If you're not aware of the reference method, again, please have a look at the video that I have already created. It's really important to understand how reference method syntax look like to understand this particular statement. Both P1 and P2 are exactly same. P1 is written using the lambdas and P2 is written using the reference method way. A predicate, both P1 and P2 or any other predicate, can be used anywhere where we want to check a condition. So for example, say in a if condition, we can use this predicate in the if condition. But for this example, I'm only going to execute the predicate and print the output of the predicate rather than using it in a if condition. So I'm going to check and print whether a double quotes is considered as empty using the P1 predicate. And now I'm doing the same thing using the P2 predicate. Let me also write a print statement where I can use one of the other utility method in the predicates interface. And in this example, I'll just use and. So I'm going to write P1 and P2 and then test whatever string you would like to give. So I'm just giving double quotes for now. So what this essentially will do is it will compute the predicate P1 and also compute the predicate P2 and do a AND of both the outputs. AND is the logical operations that we do on the Boolean values. Now let me save and run the program and see the output. So we are printing true for all the three statements, and the reason is the double quotes is considered as empty, and that is why all the three print statement prints true. Now instead of an empty string, let me give a space and save and run the program. And now the predicate P1 returns a false value. And the reason is space is not considered as empty. Let me do the same for the AND operation and now save and run the program. And the AND will also return false because both P1 and P2 returns false. So false and false returns a false. Let me clean up the space. And now let's look into BiPredicate. BiPredicate is very similar to predicate. The only difference is the test method can take two arguments and the return is still a Boolean, which means the lambda that we write as an implementation of BiPredicate can take two arguments, and then within the lambda body we can use the two objects and do the computation and return a Boolean value. Now apart from that test method, BiPredicate will also have other util method like and, negate, or. You can check the documentation of the default methods, what they are supposed to do. I'm going to write a BiPredicate of 2 strings. In my lambda body, I'm going to check whether the first string starts with the second string. That means the second argument is a prefix of the first string. So it will be BiPredicate string, string, and p1. And as the lambda is supposed to take 2 arguments, so I'll have x and y. And in the lambda body, I'm going to write x dot starts with y. So you can write any implementation. It doesn't really matter. I'm just picking up this for an example. Now, next up, I'm going to write the exact same predicate using the reference method. Now, just like predicates, BiPredicates are supposed to be used in a if condition when we have to check if something is true or false. But in this example, I'm just going to print the values just to show you what it will return back. So I'm going to use the first predicate p1 and test. Java is the first argument and j as a second argument, which means my predicate when it runs will check whether Java starts with j. And similarly, I'm going to use p2 just to show you that the results will be exactly same. Now let me save and run the program. And as you would expect, both the predicates returns a true value. That is all I wanted to discuss. In the next video, we will see functions and bifunctions. If you like the video, hit the like button and subscribe to get notified for my upcoming videos. I will see you in the next one.